with me having to relearn, reprocess, rethink what sex was, that was like taking a part of my identity away.
Just because you may need to seek help or you may be in transition and things may not be right, that doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage is bad.
Marriage is a roller coaster ride that never ends.
From the twists of having children, to the turns of overly involved parents, or the highs of buying a new home, to the lows of unexpected lifestyle changes.
Marriage is dope, but let's be honest, fam. Marriage really be tiring.
Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast, hosted by Jaz and Spoon.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It is the Left Hand Gang. What's up, girl?
What up, gang?
How you living in these streets?
I'm great.
Yeah? Why you got this big Chuck E. Cheese smile on your face?
Why I can't be great?
I didn't say you couldn't. I just asked
I don't
why.
know. I'm just grateful. Man.
See, they just be getting defensive for no reason. I asked why.
I'm just grateful. I'm just happy today.
Why? Because this is the day the Lord has made?
And I shall rejoice and be glad in it.
Okay, so what you glad about?
I'm just glad.
For what?
Glad to be here. I'm glad we have these special guests.
Oh, that's what you should have said. You should just said that from the jump.
I'm just happy today, baby.
So is it because you got guests or because you just happy?
So I got to pick one happy?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, fine. So that's what we on today?
That's what we on.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine.
Where you at?
Everywhere.
Okay.
I'm everywhere.
You want to talk about it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. All right, moving forward.
All
right.
Nah, I'm good. Really, this week has been... Was it this week? What's today? Saturday? Yeah. Yeah. This week has been a very one of the most emotionally invested weeks that I've had.
Oh, with work?
Work, the retreat, and I had leadership last Friday. And I had been with my people. Shout out my Aspen House Associates people, man. We did a lot of bonding and growing, and I loved it. So yeah, I'm just really, really trying to find myself and come back and be centered. That's it. But yeah.
Can you remind everyone what Aspen House is? I feel like it's been a long time since we've talked about it.
Yeah, so Aspen House Associates, started by me, built by me, funded. No, I'm
what
just
we're not
kidding.
Gonna do is lie. what we're not going to do, all due respect, husband. We ain't gonna be able to do that.
No, so Aspen House Associates, it's a private practice where we do counseling services, therapy service, as well as coaching. And I do serve as one of the coaches there with leadership as well as with marriage and relationships. And I love it. So we got a lot of things that we're offering there. And our team is really growing.
And y'all are really dope people. For real. I don't know about other counseling facilities, and I don't say that just because you work there, but everybody there, your team is really dope.
Yeah. I love every last one of them. And yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff that we be doing. Yeah. Anyways, so shout out my Aspen House Associate. If you need some services, come holler at us. Come pull up on us. We be doing some things there. What else?
Icy dog.
Why you hit me in my chest, bro?
Okay.
So big shout out to our sponsors. Icy brand. We still got that promo code for 10% off. That's Icy Gang. ICYY Gang, all one word. Don't worry about caps, lowercase. Just type it in, get your 10% off on all of that stuff. And Light with Purpose. I miss my friends. I really do. They're
coming next month.
I know they're coming to kick it with us next month. I miss my Light with Purpose people. So get you some candles there. What is the thing? Light Gang for 15% off. That's LIGHT. Please make sure you spell light right. Gang. Some people be spelling LITE. I'm just saying.
Do they?
Yeah.
I think that's the young generation.
We're
not gonna talk about it.
I peep.
We're not gonna talk about it.
We're definitely going to talk about it later. But Light Gang for 15% off. So visit lightwithpurpose.com to get your candle. So who we got hanging with us today?
Y'all, the people that we have today.
Yeah.
The fact that we're related and we just found that out.
Yeah, on accident.
On accident. A month ago is really crazy. But We have a beautiful couple
Yeah.
that is power packed with testimony and God's favor and God's grace. We have the Prices with us.
The Prices. How much money?
I don't know. You gotta ask them.
How much money y'all got?
I will tell you something. So Price is my maiden last name.
Yeah.
And I hated when everybody would say things like, the price is right, or how much it costs. Like, that's so cheesy and it's so dumb, and it really annoyed me. I don't know about them, but I really hate it.
You hated it?
Yes. So
I mean,
I'm standing up for them, and I'm asking you to not do that.
Okay, I guess I can get that because people would be like, Spoon, you got some cereal? So I would get that.
I've never heard that.
Or they would get the yogurt. You got yogurt for my... All right. Anyways, so I can get it. Oh, you thought that was so funny.
I did. I'm sorry. The Price one isn't funny. That one is actually funny.
It's not fun. It wasn't funny because you were used to it and it was you. That's why.
I guess. Anyway, yes, we have some special guests with us. And I'm not going to introduce y'all completely. I'm going to let y'all tell everybody who y'all are. But who wants to start? Who you are? Where you from?
Well,
what set you claim?
Jump in there because my maiden name is Jackson.
Okay.
So it was, sorry, Miss Jackson.
And I get that.
Yeah.
It was a lot growing up. I'm like, I really hated that. But I'm Keanna Price. And this is
Anthony Price.
Hey, Keanna, can you do me a favor and pull your mic up a little closer to you?
Yes.
It's gonna have to be in your personal.
Because I know you trying to keep it out your space.
I was. It's like a little speck, like right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
where y'all from?
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
Triple D.
Hey.
Born and raised, all the good things.
All over the Metroplex, pretty
Now,
much.
whenever you say Dallas, like what you mean? Because you know how us Dallas people be like, you mean the cliff or you talking about like Mesquite or something? So like,
half of my life, Pleasant Grove.
oh, so you from the Grove?
Yeah,
Grove side.
The Greedy
and
Grove.
then Mesquite, then Garland.
Yeah, like when I say the Metroplex, I moved around a lot.
Okay.
But
I don't think you got that much time for her.
I went to 13 schools.
Okay.
So that says a lot. But I was born and raised in East Dallas Projects.
Okay.
So I spent most of my childhood in South Dallas.
South Dallas.
So like, yeah, 44.
Mhm.
Yeah, all of that down that way. So yeah, we moved around a lot too. So I think by the time I got to middle school, I have been Pleasant Grove, Oak Cliff, North Dallas a couple times.
Okay. Yeah, you kept them in rotation.
Yep. That's probably why like I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
It probably
You know
is.
what?
That you know what? That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense now. So like what is y'all story though? How'd y'all meet and all of that stuff? What's that?
You want to tell your side, then you want me to tell the truth?
Okay.
Why is there always
So,
two stories?
That's crazy. Because everybody has two stories. It's like he got a story, then she got a story.
Every time.
Well, I normally let her tell the lie first, and then I tell.
Oh, okay. You go clean it up.
Wow,
Okay.
a lie.
Okay.
You know what? Honestly, it's not a lie. I think the reason why there's always two sides because I think the woman we give more details, specifics.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Key components to a story.
Mm.
So
our components ain't key. That's what she's saying.
Yeah,
I think they're very
basically.
surface, and you don't want people in your business.
Well,
Oh,
tell the
okay.
story.
Okay,
Man,
cool.
Shots are being fired.
Bow.
We met in 2008. How many years ago was that? We met at 18, so we were at 15 years. We met through a mutual friend, but not really, because the friend I knew worked at the same grocery store that he did, and so I went in there one night, real late, to get some, I think milk or eggs, something. One of them, I'm gonna run to the store real quick and grab this.
And
So
it don't matter what I look like.
I mean, probably two different pairs of shoes, like hair in a scarf, like just looking crazy. And I seen my friend, so I stopped to chop it up with him. I was like, oh, well, you know what time you get off, da da da. And I looked down the aisle; they were all stalkers. So I seen him and I knew of him, but I wasn't there for that. And so I chopped it up with my friend, and so I left. I think by the time, was it the same night? Okay.
Y'all didn't see
tell
his
your
face.
side.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember getting a MySpace message from him.
MySpace.
Let's let that simmer right there.
MySpace.
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 That was it. You used to click the page and the music started playing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And depending on what your mood was, you had like the waterfall
Yeah.
coming down.
Matching background.
You had butterflies coming out the woodworks.
You had all them quizzes on there too.
You know what? We were coders.
Well, we was
y'all
really out
were.
here coding.
Y'all
We
really
definitely
were.
was computer
The first
coders, but
ones.
I had a message from him, and I knew exactly who it was. And I remember opening it up, and I still remember what it said. It said, "Hey, I think you kind of cute.
Mhm.
Let me take you out sometime. Here's my number." And I thought to myself, because he's supposed to have a girlfriend.
Oh.
At least that's what I thought.
Mm.
Oh.
So, what part of that is a lie?
So
Mhm.
we met at Walmart, neighborhood Walmart, on aisle 13, which is kind of funny because that was the chip aisle. We were stalking the chip aisle.
Oh, I love that you know the aisle number.
Aisle 13.
Yeah,
July
she came-
13, 2013.
She came around the corner and she had on red basketball shorts and a hoodie and some slides. But men don't remember details.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
Oh,
right.
Okay,
okay.
I see you.
Okay.
And so then I asked, he was standing next to me and he was walking that way. And I was like, who's that? He said, oh, that's my best friend. And then so they had their conversation. And then I was like, so then when he came back, we chatted it up. And he's like, well, you know, she is single, but he was like, that's my best friend. Like, make sure, you know, he's make sure you take care of my best friend. Yada, yada, yada. So I think it was maybe a few days later. She said it was the same night. I don't believe that part.
It was instantly.
It was not instant.
It had to be
I didn't get
overnight.
off till 11 o'clock that night.
It was an overnight message for sure.
No.
It was quick.
But it
It was-
happened.
Yeah, it happened.
It happened. But I played it small though because in my mind he had a girlfriend
Mhm.
because that's what it was. Like my best friend said, "Oh, he's dating this girl," because I knew of him because of the car he drove. So back in the day, I was that girl. If you had a system in your car or you had some kind of slab, I had eyes.
Yeah, okay.
I had eyes for
Okay.
you.
Ratchet.
I'm
Ratchet.
trying to peep the scene.
Ratchet.
And he had a little thump in his Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
And so I would peep him through the parking lot because I would be like, man, who's that? Well, you know, with that sound system, it sound pretty good. And my best friend would say, oh, that's Aunt. And I was like, oh, okay. So I seen him a couple times, but he had a girlfriend. That was the word. So I didn't really respond right away because I wasn't sure how to play it. Like, at this time, I had just got out of a relationship with my son's father. My son was 1 at the time. And so I didn't really know how to play it. But funny story, though.
Yeah, fast forward. We communicate back and forth on MySpace. Then we exchange numbers.
Mhm.
And then I told my best friend about her at the time. And then I went to my sister had a baby, so I show up at the hospital. I'm sitting there with her, my mom, my best friend, and then her sister, and her mom walk in. And I'm like elbowing my homeboy, like, hey.
Wait, into the same room?
I'm like, hey, you remember that girl I was telling you about? He was like, yeah. I said, that's her right there, the light skinned one. He told me, you invited her to the hospital? I said, no, I don't know why she here. That's what I'm telling you. He's like, what? And I'm like, he said, this is weird.
I walked in that room and I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I kid you not, I told my sister, I was like, he is stalking me. Like,
Yeah, I showed up at the hospital to see
Right.
a random baby,
Right.
but I was in the room first. But I'm stalking you.
his
Right.
sister and my mom were friends.
Yes.
Okay.
And we didn't even know.
Wow.
I never knew.
Never knew that they hung out. Like they were
Yeah, on weekends they hit the club. They ran around
doing
together,
their thing.
but
and
never.
Wow.
I was like, so immediately I was like, I told my sister, let's go. Like, I don't want to be in here. Like, it's weird. And we still laugh about that because it has to been like a month later that we showed up at the hospital at the same time. But it's just crazy how like we kept running into the same circles with one another. So I'm like, this is weird. But we dated for a little bit or
What was
tried
our first
to.
date?
Our first date?
Yeah.
Chili's.
Mm-hmm. So it's on that list that they've been talking
Yeah,
about.
that you can't do no
that you
more.
can't do no more. Yeah.
Yeah. You take a girl to Chili's now, you out of there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna cut it.
And it was so funny. We laugh about our first date because she ordered honey chipotle chicken crispers.
Yeah.
Those
But
are my
guys don't remember
favorite.
detail. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
We don't remember
wow.
Come on, he coming
Hey,
through.
And
Sis, I want to help you, but I mean,
yeah, a salad. But
He
she
got
was
it.
like picked at the salad the whole time. I'm like, you not hungry? And she's like, no, like I ate something like before you picked me up. I'm like, I'm good. So okay, so she pack it all up to go. We have a good time. I drop her off at home. What'd you do when you got in the house? before you got out your heels.
I devoured that food.
You was trying to be cute.
Yeah,
Trying to be cute. Trying to be, you know how
them honey chipotle, they real messy.
Yes.
Now they kind of dry because they real stingy with the sauce. But back then when it was a real chicken
very
strip,
messy.
yeah.
And so it's like you don't want to wipe your mouth too much.
Right.
You look like you're a messy eater.
Right.
So I was just like,
and then the sauce be all over your hands.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "That's how you gonna eat?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I had to laugh because I remember leading up to the date. I'm like, where you want to go? And she's like, it don't matter, like Taco Bell. I'm like, what? Well, who wants to go there?
That's because coming up, like we live literally in two separate worlds. Like to me, Chili's and like Applebee's and stuff like that. To me, that was high end.
It was back then.
Yeah, it was.
Like I was a Taco Bell, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Really like noodles, like stuff like I didn't know of those places. So he was like, "Where you want to go?" And I'm like, "We can go to McDonald's." Like here, you know.
I think my mindset then was like, man, I done worked all week for this chick.
Yeah.
You think I'm finna I'm gonna eat? Like,
See, that's something I didn't know nothing about. Your girl wasn't working back then, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't know
like,
the value
look.
of $1.
Look, I done gave Walmart all my time. You know how many boxes I done sling? We finna go eat.
We finna eat,
finna
eat good. So
Yeah.
y'all dated after y'all saw each other at the hospital for a little. Well, you
For
say
a
y'all
little
tried
bit.
to, and then I'm guessing y'all broke up, and then there had to have been a reconnect.
Yeah,
Definitely.
How long was
So I
that
think
time span?
when I left Walmart, I moved to Arlington with my dad because I was going to Brookhaven, which is like a Ford college.
Mhm.
So every time she would, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that. Like, and I had just started working for a dealership, so that was big time. So I needed to always be there. So we worked every Saturday. I'm like, hey, I can't go to the club because I got to work tomorrow. And then Saturday night, hey, you want to go? I can't do that because I got to be at church in the morning. I was going to Friendship West at the time.
Okay.
Give Pastor Haynes a little shout out.
Yeah.
But that's just what I was on. Like, hey, I'm work, church, and like, I ain't got time for the clubbing. And so that's just kind of what she was on at the time. And so we kind of drifted apart.
Yes and no. So I'm gonna take accountability in that area because I think because he was on this path of living right, working, going to church, like I saw that as negatives. Like I saw that as like lame, like you're not fun. Like so for me, like that was a turnoff.
Mhm.
Like you don't want to come out and do what I'm doing. You don't want to, you don't want to meet me where I'm at. And I just thought like you wasting my time because like you don't want to come out. You don't want to. And I used to smoke back then, so it's like you're not that guy.
You're not where I am at all.
No.
Yeah.
And I saw that as like a downer. Like, he's not it. I mean, I love that he was hardworking. I love that he was a go getter. But for me, like when it was time to play, it was time to play, and he
Mhm.
wasn't about it. Like he would be like, I'm like, come over. I lived in Garland at the time. He was in Arlington, so I would tell him to come see me. He was like, well, I got to get up early and da-da. So to me, it just sounded like a bunch of excuses.
Dude was responsible.
I was like, well, come out, come out. I used to go to Rhythm City on Sunday nights. Ladies got in free before 10. And so I would invite him, like, meet me at the club, and he'd be like, no, I gotta, get up and go to work in the morning. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So I, like, during that time, I didn't really take him serious. And so I had met this other guy, which is the twins' dad. And I started talking to him while still trying to like talk to him or keep him, but then talking to the twins' dad. And so I ended up breaking up with him for the other guy. And that happened in 2009. So we met in 2008. This happened roughly in 2009, and we didn't reconnect until 2021.
Whoa.
Wait.
What?
2011.
Oh,
Sorry.
Wait, I was like, wait.
Sorry.
Actually, I was like, wait.
Sorry.
What about
this
the
bad thing, math.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
2011. Yes.
Okay.
So
Some time passed.
2 years later.
So, Anthony, what was that like for you?
Man, it was life kept going like because I just knew where my mindset was. Like I knew what my goals was in the dealership. So yeah, so I couldn't sacrifice when I'm like I'm here, but I'm present. Like we used to hang out on Fridays, but like when it come time to go to work and do, I gotta take care of business. Like I kind of knew like the way I grew up, and I didn't want to repeat that lifestyle. So and I gotta be responsible. So I mean, it was tough, but like my dad always says, like if you have to love enough to let go, And if it's meant to be, it'll come back around. And so, sure enough, it came back around.
So I just think it's so interesting that like Keanna, you was like, yeah, I ain't there, bro.
I get that.
I'm on something else. And the current lifestyle that you were living, it was more so anything that he did that was quote unquote good was really a negative because it don't fit with what I'm trying to do, or it doesn't fit the narrative of the lifestyle that I currently have. And I really think that that's where a lot of people, when they get into relationships, they don't really recognize that right there, that like I'm on something else, and anything that you do is gonna piss me off anyways. And so rather than rather than cutting it off or what have you, trying to play both sides, like, I guess I said keeping one foot in over here and one foot in over here, and trying to just play both roles instead of just letting it just letting it go.
Yeah.
I remember like when we were dating, like I would go get off for Saturday, go see her on a Saturday night, and then I may end up staying the night. But then Sunday morning, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go because I gotta go to church. Like, do you want to come? And she like always, it was always a no.
Yeah. So why you didn't want to go to church?
I was not that typical raised in church. Like he was raised in church. Like church was his foundation. Like he knew of church.
Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays.
Okay.
He come from that background.
We know that.
Okay.
So him going to church on Sundays, I'm like, what? Like Sundays is for rest, like sleeping in. And I think because the way I was brought up, I went to church, but we weren't in church. Like we would go to church. And when we went to church, it was good. It was cool. It was like, okay, to me, this was like something you could do on Sunday.
It was optional.
Yeah. You could get there. Become as you are though. So it's like I remember Sundays where where we had enough gas or we had a ride, and we would go to church and she would blast her Yolanda Adams. And I knew it's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day. And we would go to church. We were going to St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church at the time, and beautiful congregation. I loved everything about the church from what I can remember as a child. And she put us in kids choir. I remember I was hopeful. I was like, okay, we might be. But because we moved around so much, it's like nothing was consistent. It's like, okay, yeah. It's like when it got good, it was gone. And so I was raised with a lot of women, like great granny, mama, sister. And so I didn't know what a male like figure or perspective or any of that in my life. To me, that was something I was trying to figure out. I knew I wanted that. I just didn't know how to get it and keep it. It was like, well, if you ain't on what I'm on, then you can get gone. But it was hard. I think I made it very hard for him because I didn't have that respect in that manner for his hard work and dedication. Like, it's funny, we joke about it now, but at the time I was in school for medical assisting at Remington. And I invited him to my graduation. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come, I was like, okay, cool. I was looking forward to him coming. This was in 2009, probably right before we broke up. He didn't come. I remember blowing his phone up and texting him like, where you at? It's about to start. Guess where he was at? Work. I was like, man, no. Like, you done missed one of the most important days of my life. Like,
And that was how many years ago?
I know, but see, this is the thing about history and how it repeats itself. Because a year prior in 2008, my son's father went to jail on the day of my prom. So that crushed me. I was like, you calling me from jail when I'm getting ready for prom? You supposed to be here in an hour. Dang. So it's like when he did that to me, I'm just like, to me, I crack with my friends about this, but that INDEP, like that mentality, that's what I was on, because I'm like, I can't trust men. Like, I can't be out here trying to be in a relationship with a guy that letting me down.
And what's crazy is to this day, the reason why I asked that question, to this day, I can't go down 635 and pass,
it's 75.
or 75, and pass where she graduated without her asking, like, that's where my graduation was. And where was you at again? Like, it's been so how many years?
It's still tender. It's still
The
tender.
answer haven't changed. I was at Don
Because I
Davis.
really liked
I was
you.
at Don
Yeah, I
Davis.
was at Don Davis Ford and all of it. Must know.
I really liked you. And so I invited you because I'm like, I wanted you to be a part of that moment. Like I did it, you know. And it was hard. School was hard because I had a baby and I went to school at night so I could work during the day. So I had a lot going on. And although I was in the club and doing me, I was taking care of a little business.
The
I had
little business.
stuff going
Yeah,
on.
little business.
And so I was proud. You know, I was proud of that
as you
moment.
should be.
And so I think what happened was he was supposed to take off because he was scheduled to work, but I think he was supposed to take off and maybe he didn't take off or you couldn't get that Saturday off. And instead of him telling me, like, he just didn't show up.
Yeah, I think, well, back then I was low on the totem pole. So, yeah, Saturdays are crucial at a dealership. So you just can't walk in there and be like, yeah, I'm not going to be here this Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It's like trying to take out Black Friday and you work at Walmart. It's not happening. It's just not happening.
Yeah, but he was really sweet. Like he was like, I'll tell my friends, like, he was a good guy. Like I didn't see that because I was just in my head about a lot. But like I said, I used to smoke real heavy back then. And before he would come and see me, he would bring me a snack pack. And that was his way of like showing me love or like not contributing to the what I was doing, but just his way of like, I see you. And it's so funny because this week, I was listening to something and I sent him the video and it was talking about how a person disciples you, but like in your life, not even knowing that they were discipling you. So like him meeting me where I was him bringing me that snack pack.
Yeah.
What was the snack pack?
A cool blue Gatorade, some trolley worms, some hot Cheetos, and a wine black.
Man, so details.
There we go. No, but we don't remember things
Details.
according to some people.
I mean, you own it today.
I gotta
Because we in front of company.
I mean, he's reaching deep in that bag today.
So what was that reconnection like? You said 2011?
The year I turned 21. It was weird for me.
Did y'all run into each other randomly again?
I messaged him on Facebook.
You reached out.
Okay,
we gotta talk about that. What caused the turnaround?
Yeah, like
because he was lame before.
Right, he was
so
lame and you was out here doing your thing.
I was.
What made you humble yourself to reach back out to Ant?
One of those I told you so without nobody telling me because I had to live it. So mind you, I had already had my oldest son. When we met, he was 1 year old. When I got with the other guy, I ended up getting pregnant with twins, boy-girl twins. So when I reached back out to him, well, you saw life happening on Facebook. So he knew I had the babies, things like that. But going through heartache and knowing like, dang, I didn't have to go through this, but I went through this because I chose this. And so I remember after breaking up with the twins' dad and finally just having enough because he was just toxic. And I remember seeing him on Facebook. And I just remember sending him a message. And it wasn't even a message to like, I want to be with you. It was, I apologized. Because I knew what I did, like, it hurt. Like, I knew, like, when I was like, you know, I don't want to be with you, or breaking up with him in the way that I did it to be with somebody else. Like, I humbled myself because I'm like, I broke up with you to be with him, and then this is what I got.
Yeah.
And so I remember messaging him, and I was just like, well, prior to that, he would send me, like, Happy Mother's Day on Facebook or Happy Birthday or Merry Christmas. Like, he was still sending me messages, but we, you know, me, I'm like, I'm in another relationship, so I wasn't really entertaining it like that. But, you know, he was around.
Gotcha. He was in the background.
He kept planting seeds.
Yeah.
Just kept
Daddy did. And so I reached out and I apologized and was like, you know, thank you for just being who you are. Thank you for just being a good guy. You know, I think my attraction for like those bad guys back then, it was something awful. Like, it was just, you are, what's the saying? Like, you are a product of your environment.
Yeah.
Yep. Hands down. Like, I went from hood to hood to hood. Like, I'm everywhere in the D. So it's like, that's what I seen. I seen like you're supposed to be like this in a guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know a hard worker man that went to church, that was in school. Like, what's that? Like, clueless. And so the guys I chose, they were in the streets. They were, well, what my friends say, girl, you like them thugs. Like they were out there, and I was attracted to like the muscle, or what I thought protector. Very dysfunctional way of seeing it. But so when I reached out and apologized, I wasn't expecting much. I think I just needed to let that be known. Like, I'm sorry.
So,
and he replied.
So, what was your response?
To be honest, that's probably one thing. I don't remember what did I say back. I do remember we met up for dinner. Where did we meet for dinner?
It was lunch.
No, it wasn't. Well, unless it was there all day.
At Black Eyed Peas.
And she was like, "Why are we coming here with all these old folks?"
I was like, "This what you eat?" Like, what's this?
And it was so funny. I think she weighed probably 90-something pounds.
I was very skinny.
And she came around the corner. She had on some Ed Hardy jeans and an Ed Hardy shirt.
You was clean.
I tried to put on my best.
She pulled up in a Grand Marquis, and I'm just like, oh, nothing has changed.
Slab.
He said nothing has changed.
Slab.
Man, that car there. Mama, we made it. Like,
hey, back then that was something.
It was a glass house, silver Grand Marquis. Her name was Diamond.
Wow.
And I pulled up, little bitty old me too. And I pulled up in that thing,
hovering over the dash. Yep. Make the turn, and I'm like,
that is. I have the visual in my mind.
If
that
y'all
is
could
so
only
funny.
see some pictures from back in the day. I mean, I had the red hair.
Yeah, I have a whole box of just a bunch of pictures from high school, college, everything. But some of the pictures are in there from when she did like her senior photos and then stuff after. So me and the kids now, I'll be going through looking for something. And she'll be like, "Oh, yeah, don't show them that one. Put that one up. Why do you still have that picture?"
So when we hang out next time, I'm gonna need to see that box.
You have to bring the box.
It's gonna be
whole
like,
box.
whoa, you were out there.
Yeah.
That's what you wore to the club. Wow, gotcha.
We thank God.
And then what's funny is I know it's one picture. It's her mom, and her best friend, or her old best friend, or whatever. And she was like, "Don't show the kids that they grandma on there."
we went to a phone party.
Yeah.
So, you wear your swimsuit to the phone party, but the girls used to have the shorts open. You know.
Dang, I forgot about that. You're right.
You have to show your swimsuit bottom.
Yeah.
But I remember your message back was very humbling. It was sweet. It was just everything that I expected it to be, and you accepted my apology, and we just caught up after that. I think we messaged back and forth for a little while, and then we exchanged numbers, and it was more so like catching up. Like, what has life been for you? And I mean, everything pretty was smooth sailing on his side. He had advanced in his job, and he had graduated college. Like, everything was good, and I'm over here like, man, I've been through this and that, and just and one thing I can say, I've always respected his ear to listen. Like, he never judged me for like being out bad as I was, or a part of me didn't care, but a part of me appreciated like that he wasn't bashful or throwing it up in my face or making me feel like I told you so. Like, you chose him.
So what was it like not having, I guess, that presentation of what like a man is, what a man is supposed to be, and then Anthony showing up and I guess being the first representation of what a man should be, contrary to what you've, had in previous relationships or had seen before.
Are you saying like now in like 2011?
Yeah.
Talked about before.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like now, or not now, but at that time.
Like at that time.
Yeah.
I think my kids humbled me. I think me becoming a mother and having expectations for them kind of set them for myself, because I don't think I had any prior. I was a teen mom. I had my oldest son at 16 going on 17. So I was a junior in high school when I had him, and No one could have told me that I was going to be a mom that early. I don't think I had dreams for college. Like I had dreams to be something in the world. Texas Tech was actually on my top 3. And
Welcome.
y'all never guess why though, because in 8th grade, you know how the schools come out like college day, career day, and I picked up the Texas Tech brochure and it was some football players on the front. I was like, he cute.
I mean, I understand.
I'm going to Texas Tech, hands down. And they had a good architectural program because I thought I wanted to be an architect. And so life happened really fast for me being the oldest of 3. My mom always worked at least a couple jobs. And knowing what I know now, my flesh didn't want this man to be great. Like, I just didn't know what that was. And I think coming to him in 2011, I think I still didn't know, but I think I was willing to give it a try to see. And it was still hard. Ooh, it was hard. I was like, you do a lot of amazing things, but I don't know where where I can adapt and fit in. And I had 3 kids, and so I'm thinking about them. And so he at the time he just put action into play. Like he wasn't. That's something that was different because my previous guys were all talk. It was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get you this house. I'm gonna get you this car. We're gonna do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah. But he definitely was like about that action, like, moving me and the kids in and like being that provider and like showing me responsibility and laying down house rules. Like house rules.
Yeah.
What?
It's a man.
As a man. And so I struggled with it all the way to marriage. I struggled. I struggled hard because I didn't know how to be the woman in his life and not relate to how I was raised. Because my mom and granny, sister, like it was that what can you do for me mentality. And I mean, it was heavy. It was like, if you ain't doing X, Y, and Z, then what you here for? And so trying to find that balance between not see him as just someone that can do for me, but someone that loves me and is willing to do for me and the kids. And so I battled in that because it's like I want to, make this change and be the woman you know I can be. But it's like, how do I erase 21 years of upbringing? Like it was like I didn't have a dad. So like there was no men in my life. Like no men. So all I got was pretty much like, well, this is how, like, okay, for example, finances was a huge one. It still comes up sometimes.
I think that's everybody marriage.
Yeah. And he would try to put me on a budget. And I'm like, And I definitely had that mindset, like, you ain't my daddy. Like, who are you to tell me? Like, I'm a grown woman. Like, you're not gonna tell me how to spend my money and, and so yeah, I think my flesh in the way that I know the enemy now, he didn't want none of this to happen. Like I think when we got engaged to get married, I wasn't really hesitant or skeptical because we knew we loved each other. But Lord, I didn't know that when you get married, it was different from like your relationship. And I don't think people realize that.
They don't. And that's why we got this podcast.
It's a different ball game. Like, you may know the sport, but when you step back out on that plate, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So Anthony, considering all those different things, so I mean, there's a lot that's happened, right? So y'all were together, kinda. Then y'all took each other seriously, but then sister's like, "Nah, this ain't for me." And then she comes back, not with one, but now 3 kids. And so mentally, how was that process for you, being able to extend grace and still open yourself up to allowing her to be in your space?
And honestly, I think my mom had played a big part in that, like behind the scenes, and I don't even think she realized it. that's just the way she was. Like so the whole time that I grew up, my mom was a single mom,
Mm,
but she only dated one guy the whole time, and it was for a couple of years. But it was her thing was always, "Hey, you have to accept me and my kids. If that's not a part, then we ain't in a
mm,
sense of us doing no talking because I have a package of two, and then later on she adopted one of my cousins that his parents had passed, so three. So then now she's saying, "Hey, I got three. If you don't accept these three, then."
mm,
So I kept it in the back of my mind, like if I love her enough, I have to accept
Mm-hmm.
mm.
everything that comes with her. And I remember it's funny because I think the first day she came over my apartment, I swear my dog, if we could talk, he looked like, where all these damn kids come from? Because it's just been me and him for so long.
You like,
And
what
then
are
you
those?
have the twins or one, they're running around, picking up
Mm.
his toys, pulling his ears. And he's just like, what's going on here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought about my mom, like, you just accept it. I mean,
Mhm.
Mm,
and it's been wonderful. Like, it's funny because me and Lay, which is our daughter, we have such a love hate relationship, but it's more love than hated. But she always gives me like I have these like she's like my legs are hairy because of you, Dad, or because of you. It's all your fault.
Aw.
Like so it's just been a blessing all around. Like
Mhm.
mm,
I couldn't ask for nothing more,
man.
and it all went full circle, and we're
Mm.
just one big happy blended family.
I love that. What have been some challenges for either of you navigating a blended family? We had one couple on some dear friends of ours that talked about it, but we haven't had a lot of people on this platform share how it can be difficult and the reality of taking a family and blending it. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, but it does come with some challenges. So, do y'all mind speaking to what have been maybe a couple of the ones that y'all have had to
Mm.
navigate?
One thing I know for sure, like just because when me and her decide, hey, this is us, this is what we're gonna do, this is the way we're gonna run our house and raise our kids, and we elevate. Just because you elevate the the fathers or
The other parent.
the other parents, they may still be down here, so
Mm.
they may be still tugging and trying to you know disrupt. I guess I call it disrupt what you got going on.
Mhm.
So that can always be a challenge if the co-parent is not
Mm.
Mm.
on the same playing surface.
Mm-hmm. And it's good now, but it took. Let's see, our oldest is 16. The twins are 13. You've been in their life since they were what 3 and 1,
Hmm.
or was it 3? Was
For
Carlos
them, that's
3?
their whole life.
Their
Yeah,
whole life.
yeah. One for Carlos and no, well,
The twins were 1.
yeah, both. I meant both of them at one. Really?
So it
Oh
is
yeah, because the first time.
Yeah, the
the
Yeah.
first
first
time
time.
Carlos was one, then when I met the twins, they were one.
Mm.
Mm,
So with the co-parenting, it's good now, but it just got good. We've been together what 12 years.
Mm.
It just got good probably about 4 5 years ago.
Probably like right before my mom passed. I would say what before my mom passed, one kind of caught up to speed, and then one was still lingering like on just the dumb stuff. Then a few years later, now he's up to speed. So like now it's just kosher. But
But it definitely caused a lot of havoc in our marriage because
Mm.
um it's more so of me trying to work out schedules and
Mm.
pick up and drop off spots. Like,
mhm,
as the head of our house, they're not welcome in my home. Like, I don't want
Mm.
them coming here and picking up the kids. Like, have a mutual place to where y'all can meet. It was my mom's house for a minute, and then so she moved out of pocket, and so I respected that. But obviously, them over here, it was like, well, why he don't want us at the house, and it was just
Yeah.
drama. And so I'm trying to respect my marriage and what my husband is saying while not trying to complicate this because like I don't want to jeopardize the kids' visit because they get mad or they be like,
mhm,
well, I'm not getting the kids because, for whatever reason. And so I remember there were so many Fridays where I'm set to drop them off at 7. It'd be 8:30, and I'm still sitting in the 7-Eleven parking lot like,
Wow.
we waiting on your dad. And I think for me, it took him a while to understand my posture behind that. But because I grew up without a father,
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't want them to miss out on that relationship because we weren't together. Like I didn't
Mhm.
want to jeopardize them not having their fathers in their life because I'm bitter and I'm broken and I'm this and that and the third. And so it wasn't going to be on my account. If they weren't present, it was going to be because they didn't come pick you up or they were too busy or whatever. And so it took a lot to navigate that because he would be like, "You're too nice. You're being too nice." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Well, it's not that I'm being nice. Like I just want to be. I want to be like copacetic. Like I want it to be fluid. I want it to be. I don't want no problems. Like it's not that I'm letting them have their way, but like I'm looking at these kids and like they deserve their weekend. Like they want their weekend. So it took a lot because it was hard for me to figure out how to not mess up what's going on over here and respect the marriage while still trying to co-parent. As the kids got older, it got easier because we weren't dropping off toddlers and we weren't dropping off, 5 and 6 year olds like these. Like as they grew up, it got easier to be like, well, you can grab them from school or what time they're gonna be back. Oh, okay, I feel like it got more flexible.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But in the beginning, it was a tightrope.
Yeah.
It was tight because that was the only way we were gonna let the fathers know that what we're doing over here it's because we're building something. Like they have to be in bed at a certain time. Like they have to be back at a certain time. You can't just come randomly pick them up or drop them off. Like we were creating structure and even grasping that I was struggling because I had structure growing up, but not really. It was like it was strict, but it wasn't implemented by a man. And so, as you can see, I still was struggling in that aspect because I'm like, I hear you as my husband, but then I'm looking at 2 babies' dads over here, like trying to navigate how to be present, as like a co-parent. So that was hard in a sense because I'm just like, now I'm trying to navigate marriage and co-parenting. And this was way before we had a child of our own, which I praise God because he knew we wouldn't have, I don't even know how we would have managed with a child of our own and trying to navigate the older kids. And so one thing though I remember early in our marriage, and I don't know if marriage does this to a person, but it draws out the things that you probably felt while just dating. So I think when we got married, I started to see a lot of his insecurities for me. Like me going to drop the kids off, he would be calling me, blowing my phone up, where you at? Where you at? And I'm like, I'm here, I'm waiting, for them. And so he was like, well, why are you not back yet? And so I think a lot of the insecurity rose up because he was like, now you're my wife. Like there needs to be respect here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I couldn't.
This is new.
Like, what? Like,
right.
I mean, I'm respectful. Like,
right.
I ain't raising my voice.
I mean, I'm here. I'm where I said I was gonna be.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And so I just couldn't grasp the expectation in marriage. I'm just like, if this is marriage, we
so many rules, child.
We should never did this. Like this, it heightened our relationship something awful. Because I'm like, I'm somebody's wife.
Yeah.
And it had meaning before I even knew what it meant. Like it had substance before I was even able to eat it. Like, it's like they say you gotta crawl before you walk. And all with purpose, because if you just jump up and start walking, it's like, well, you didn't even get the journey of what crawling meant. You actually had to take your time to get there.
Yeah.
And so we got married in July 2013 and everything was good. The wedding was beautiful. We carried on with life and still trying to navigate this co-parenting space, and it got hard. Because in his eyes, you're my wife. And there needs to be respect, and there needs to be boundaries, and there, all these expectations and demands came flying at me, and I was just like, well, shoot, this is hard. Like, and mind you, the women in my life, in my world, they're not married. Like, my mom's not married, my granny's not married, my great granny, my sister. Like, who's doing this?
Yeah,
I'm out here doing something new.
They're trailblazing.
Yeah, so I struggled because I don't think anyone could relate. And I didn't think I had any examples. I'm just like, who is doing this? And then the couple of girls that I did have in my life that were married prior to me were going through a divorce or they were separated. So I'm like, oh, this just doesn't work.
Mm.
I'm thinking like this marriage, I'm guessing this is not the thing.
Mm.
And so we went through a really hard season, like towards the 9th month of our marriage, where I was like, I don't want to be married anymore. Like, this is too hard. Like, I'm trying to navigate marriage. I'm trying to navigate these, co-parenting. And I was like, this is hard. And I don't know if I want this. Like, I don't know if marriage is it. Like, what was I thinking? Like, thinking that I can do it. Like, who was I? Who am I to be like, I'm getting married? Thinking that I could do it. And so, yeah, I think that was one of the most pivotal moments in my life where I made that decision based on emotion, and I left.
Wow. So you divorced him by yourself?
Yeah. I remember the day. I remember the day. I don't think God he shows you exactly where you were when you needed him.
Yeah.
As to remind you, like, remember this?
Yeah.
And I remember because it was getting hard co-parenting wise, I remember he was showing me something on his phone and a text came through and it was from his old girlfriend. And it could have been innocent. It could have been I didn't allow it to get there cuz I just seen it and I just like flipped out. I was just like I just spazzed. I just was like I think from that moment I felt like this is all a lie.
Especially because you had already created that
You
story.
already had the narrative.
You already started
created
it.
Yeah.
I was already snowballing for like, and it's crazy now because there's this Keisha Cole song where she said, you basically accused me of cheating. I might as well have.
Yeah.
Might as well.
That album's so
gone
bomb.
to the club,
Yeah,
as much as you accuse me. So it's like that was on repeat.
Yeah.
Like, who is this texting your phone? So it was like it could have been I don't even know what it was, but I flipped out. It was just a snowball of things of like co-parenting and marriage and expectation and this and that, and then now this on your phone, like it's all a lie. It's not worth it. Like, forget this. I'm out. And yeah, I saw red. And it's crazy because now what I know now in the generation that I come from, the enemy has wanted the women in in my generations for years. And I didn't realize that the attacks on my life, they weren't even mine. But they were mine that day. Like, I picked them up as if they were, because now it's something that I know now, like what you've always seen is like the women in your family. That's because the enemy has been busy for years. 60 plus years. He's been busy. Oh, and he's busy. And I just realized, like, stuff that I was up against, like, I didn't have the physical capacity, strength, emotional space to deal with it. And that's why I said he was saved and not me, because I wasn't calling on the Lord. I was calling on mama, cousin, come get him. It's going down. It's finna be smoke in the city tonight. Like, it was, I was on that type of time, because it was like, yeah, like, it's over.
How long were you gone?
That happened in May, 3 months.
What brought you back?
God.
Is that when you got saved?
So, Anthony, what was that like for you?
I mean, we never got to what the text was.
Was it a chain text, bro? Because remember, chain texts were
a
thing.
It was crazy. Even to this day, we
people
have never. I don't even think we blew right past that. We had never revisited even what the message was. I still remember what the message was. The message. So she knows this, I'm a big blues person. Like, I love Johnny Taylor. So my ex and her grandmother, we picked her up from the airport, and I was listening to Johnny Taylor, and she was like, "Play that Johnny Taylor, Taylor." She always said Taylor twice.
Yeah.
So she had texted me to let me know that her grandmother had passed. But we didn't even get to that. Like, I actually didn't open the message till I think a day or so later. But I mean, it was tough. I mean, I don't know what triggered on her end, but it was kind of like in my mind, I was like, here this cycle go, like here we go again. Like I should have just, you know, instead of like I guess rehashing it or rekindling, I should have just left it alone. But so I started, getting the house together. Like it's me and my dog again. Like, and I think I would reach out and try to communicate and try to see what we could do to get it back together.
So Keanna, you left and took the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, you left.
Yeah. And
I remember it like that day. It's vivid, but it's a lot. It's blurred too because I went through that house like Rambo. I started snatching stuff off the walls. Like I threw my wedding dress in the trash. I broke our sand from our wedding. Like I just went crazy. And I remember snatching up them kids like blankets, like threw them in the car, grabbed them an overnight bag. My mom, my sister. When I say I called them the goon, I used to call them the goon squad. I don't call them that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
I called up,
been delivered.
yes, praise the Lord. I called up the goon squad. I sent out that 911, and they pulled up like a couple cars deep. And
Anthony's like, I didn't ask for
Bro,
this.
I didn't even do nothing.
I didn't do nothing.
he knew about it. He knew how we used to get down, but because we had to do that on a couple of folks in our family. But
I was a part of the goons quite a few times.
Yeah,
you got recruited.
He got initiated.
he got initiated. He had to pull up. And so I just remember telling him, just get, just get stuff, just. And I left, and I didn't even really know why. I think after the dust settled, I didn't really know. I didn't know my front to the back.
Emotions just took you.
They took me. And that's how I used to get back in the day. Like when I got really upset, I just spazzed. Like, never really was a fighter much growing up. That was my sister. So if I did fight, it's because of my sister. But when I did have to fight, I gave it everything I had. And so I just remember feeling betrayed and lost and confused. And I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I done took a vow to be married. Don't even know what this means. Like I just feel like this is like, is he supposed to be like this? Like is he supposed to be controlling, and is he supposed to tell me what to do? Like no one told me. And what is so crazy, I don't even know if you remember this, but during our premarital, the guy was asking us questions. The pastor was asking us questions, and there was a few questions that he hit on, and he raised a brow or two, as if like y'all may not be ready to get married, without telling us that. But we knew what he was getting to, and we both walked out of there looking at each other like, well, is we doing this? Like, are we gonna get married? And we were like, at this point, and I wouldn't suggest this for anybody. Like, don't go into premarital during your wedding planning process. Because if you do and you go into your premarital and there are things that come up that cause a little hesitation, it's gonna keep you from not getting married, because you're gonna be like, we already planning the wedding.
Yeah.
And that's what was us. Like we were like, we done spent this, we done booked the caterers, we done sent our invitations. Like, what do we look like counseling?
Don't
now?
treat it as it's a check, something to check off the bar.
And that's what it was for us.
That's good.
That's a bar.
That's real good.
But I think, and so during this time when we decided to go to Camp Eagle to the Art of Marriage retreat to kind of see, I think that weekend was what, make or break.
Yes. So during that separation period, I'm actually going to write a book about that season of life, but it got really dark. It got so dark where I could have been close to death. I'm not gonna like reveal too much, but like let's just say the enemy brought me back to a place where I had been before, where at that season of my life something was being done to me, but in present tense at that time I was the one causing the problem. And so I was so close to death. I was losing a lot of weight, because that's one thing, when I'm getting stressed out, I don't eat. And I remember I started back smoking again, because I had quit. See, I quit
Mhm.
smoking
Mhm.
because of this man. And so when I separated, when I left, I started back smoking. I started going back to old habits. I
Mm-hmm.
started hanging around people that I shouldn't have been hanging around. And I packed up my kids and I moved to my mom's house. She was in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave us her master and she moved to the living room. And I was in her home with my 3 kids trying to figure out life. And I remember this was around the summertime. So I had this program called CCMS.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I remember they had childcare. So what I would do, I would get up. I wasn't working at the time. I would get up. I would take them to daycare, drop them off at daycare so they could have some kind of consistency, structure, stability.
Mm-hmm.
I would drop them off. At least I know there they would get their 3 meals and 2 snacks.
Mhm.
And I would just wonder. When I say wonder, I would usually find myself at White Rock Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Like that lake still holds heavy in my heart because I would go out to this lake and y'all know this Texas heat, this
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
would go park out there at the lake. And this was like towards the end of me coming to Jesus. I remember sitting out there and I just felt so helpless, so lost. Like he had reached out multiple times trying to get me to come back home, try to get me to, see life for what it is. And I just wasn't trying to hear it.
Mm.
Like, I'm just like, I couldn't receive it. Like, when I looked at this man, I didn't even recognize him. And I think it's because I was just so far off where I should have been or where I needed to be. And I remember sitting out there at that lake and I would get sunburned. I was just sitting in the heat. I was just frying. Like it just when you're so lost and helpless, like you don't even care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do that. I would leave, go get the kids from daycare, go back to my mom's house, and I would do that every day. And I remember this one particular day though, he called me. He was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm at the lake." And he was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "What are you doing at the lake?" And I was like, "Picking up rocks." He was like, "Why are you picking up rocks?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Mm.
And I just remember sitting there and I just remember looking out into the water and I prayed. I don't think I ever prayed like the way that I prayed, but I prayed and I remember asking God like, what is life?
Mm.
And it was so profound because I heard I heard the when people say they can't hear God, I heard the Lord.
Mhm.
And that's why if you know anything about a little bit about me, I say that I too am the woman at the well
Mm.
because I heard the Lord say, "Well, where is your husband?"
Mm.
I'm like, I'm finna divorce him. Like, I don't have a husband. Like, husband. And I just remember clearly hearing the Lord that day and was like, go home.
Mm.
And I think from that day, I called him and I was like, I don't know what we need to do, but we need to fix it.
Mm.
And so I found this marriage retreat down in South Texas somewhere. I don't even know how I found it.
West Texas.
West Texas. And I remember Googling like marriage retreats, marriage boot camps, marriage something.
Mm-hmm.
We need something. And I remember finding this camp. It was a weekend retreat and it was for marriages to renew, to vow. They did premarital. Like anybody who was married or needed to be or was going to get married, it was a weekend to rekindle, renew, reflame.
It was the art of marriage.
The art of marriage was their curriculum. And I presented it to him and I was like, would you want to do this? I think we should do this. And he agreed. And at this time, I was still living with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I had not come back home yet. But that weekend was kind of like the mark to be like, if we don't glean anything or get anything from this weekend, if we don't see that there's hope, then it's it. That's done. It's gonna be done. And I just remember feeling like man, that's all we get is a weekend. Like I didn't think it was enough time. Like I didn't
Yeah,
think it was.
I would think so too.
I didn't think it was the damage is done. Like what is this one weekend gonna do? Like I thought it was a starting point.
Yeah.
But he came with his expectations. Like it's either make it or break it. So that weekend changed our life.
Clearly, because it's 10 years later,
Mhm.
I think
right?
one of
10?
the biggest things was
9.
9.
was that the last day? Yeah, I think it was the last day before they did the vow renewal for everybody that participated. but they were going around the room and people were sharing stories, and it was like mind blowing stuff. And we was looking at each other like, we ain't done none of this.
We
Like,
ain't
they've
that
been married.
bad.
So we was the second youngest couple. We was the youngest married couple. There was a couple
Uh-huh.
that was engaged that came, but everybody else had probably 25 plus years in the game.
Mhm.
And like some of they still like, John done slept with her sister, and we
Oh,
like
yeah.
what, and like
Y'all was like, wait, y'all got a separate section.
yeah, like, and like like this couple is waiting for this son to graduate because they already saying they divorced after he, and I'm
Wow.
like, we're like just a small married problem section at like,
Yeah.
but hearing their stories, like, man, they made it that far and they're still fighting. We're in the beginning, so
Mhm.
why do we give up now?
Yeah.
We were 9 months in
Yeah.
when all this was occurred. So we spent our first year anniversary apart, and we had plans to go to Florida and all these things. Like stuff was already booked and everything, and it just didn't happen. And that's when I gave my life to Christ. I gave my life to Christ
At the retreat.
Yes, so it was like so that moment at the lake, I knew God was real.
Mhm.
Like kind of like most folks, they know God, they know of God, but they like you don't know him until you need him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And when I tell you he reached into the pit and pulled me out, like it's so humbling for me now because that's why I love the way that I love. And like I'm like, man, we agreed. We both we stood in agreement at that retreat. And we said, if God is not at the center, we knew if God was not at the center, it wasn't going to work. Because we seen what marriage was without God at the center. If this is going to be at our own doing, at our own making, it's going to blow up like it did. And so we knew in order to restructure, rebuild, God was going to have to be not just the foundation, but he got to be all of it through this house.
Right.
Like anoint the walls and the door frames. Like, and I think when I came back home, I was looking for God everywhere.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he had to be. I'm like, God, wait. Oh, he here. Because, and I'm still like that to this day because we have been through so much after us making the choice to restore and God save our marriage. We've been through so much miscarriage. He lost his mom.
Yeah, I think you have to put some context with that. That was
What?
16 was the miscarriage.
2016.
Yes,
Wow.
17.
Well, let's back up. So 2014, we went to the retreat in
Mhm.
October. We committed to restore and God save our marriage. That was 2014.
Mhm.
We miscarried
In 16.
in 2016.
And then 17, we dealt with Asher in the NICU.
2017, Asher
And then 18, my mom passed.
from
Yeah.
breast cancer suddenly. That was 2018, and then everybody went through 2020 COVID.
Yeah.
And so there was just so much
Yeah, I think.
after.
And then 19, I was in such a deep depression. I don't even remember 29. I have to go back and look at pictures most time. Like she'll be like, "What did you do for your birthday on that?" Like, I don't remember. Like,
Still grieving your
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, so after we lost my mother-in-law in August of 2018, she went in a hospital on a Friday. She passed Monday morning.
Wow.
And we all thought she was there for pneumonia.
Yeah, walked in on her own power on Friday.
So y'all didn't know she had breast cancer?
We did.
Okay.
But we didn't think it had progressed in the way that it did.
Wow.
She knew. We now know that she knew and her husband knew, but she didn't want us to know. So we all there at the hospital that weekend thinking, pneumonia or they're checking her levels. She's in her routine stuff, just trying to get her well. And she never came out. And that was I thought God pulling me out that pit was hard. Being in a marriage while your husband is grieving his mother or a parent in general in marriage is harder. Like he said, he lived most of 2019 in the shadows of life. Like, I didn't know if I was going to come home to this man deceased because he he just wasn't living.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
Mm-mm. And he's right. His memory from that year, not even just that year, but like after her passing, because I'll ask him something about the funeral, and he was like, "You was there, or you was a part of that?" And I'm like, "I was right with you. I was right next to you." He was like, "I don't remember." And so it got very blurry. And so for me, I didn't know how to navigate that. I was just like,
Do I give you space? Do I try to be there? Was that what kind
yeah,
of what you were thinking? Because that's what I
definitely.
would be thinking.
Yeah, it's like, do I help you? Do I, um try to comfort you, or do
Yeah.
I give you space? Or I don't want to give you too much space because then I don't want you to do nothing
Yeah.
crazy, but I want you to know that I'm here.
But let
But
me still
like,
be a mom. Let me
mhm,
still show up for
mhm,
our kids.
mhm,
So you were talking about how you didn't know how to navigate that season of your husband grieving. You're still trying to be a mother. Um, and you still were you working?
mhm.
Working. Life literally is still happening. Um, Anthony, what did that look what I don't know. I guess you can kind of speak from both angles. What did it look like? What was helpful to you during that season from your wife specifically? Um, what do you think someone who's grieving a parent or a great loss could really use from their spouse?
I think everybody's different, but for me, I think being I think being quiet and present,
Mm.
meaning like
Like knowing that they're
yeah,
there.
be there, but like I don't want to do a whole bunch of talking. Like I
Okay.
don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm
That's me.
and I'm like in my mind, even though it's my mom, her body, I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like could I have done something different?
Mm.
And in the same around the same time, I have a friend that has a mother that was fighting breast cancer. I have an auntie that was fighting breast cancer. So and they survived. They won. Like they beat it.
Mm.
And I'm thinking like, what did we do wrong
Yeah.
to deserve? Like what did me and my sister do wrong to where our mom didn't make it kind of
Mm.
thing. So I had a lot of me and God wasn't seeing eye to eye. Like
Yeah.
I didn't like him at the time,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
just being blunt. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's just kind of how I moved. Like it was real dark. Like like I loved my mama. Like you took the most, like one of the most important things in my life away
Yeah.
from me. I'm
Yeah.
like, what did I ever do to you to deserve that kind of thing? Like, 'cause there's no in my mind. It's like there's no way you needed that woman more than I did, kind of thing.
Mm.
So yeah, it was like I wouldn't. I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like I did everything right. Like was in church growing up. Like I kept pushing that. Like even when I got older, like so where did I go wrong? Like
Mm.
what did I do to deserve that kind of thing? But so just her being there because I want to say I can't remember who told me at the funeral, but they were like they put their number in my phone. It was an elderly lady. I think it was my grandpa's cousin or something. But she was like, the phone calls are gonna stop. She said, but when they stop, call me. She said because that's when she said the minute they stop is when you need somebody the most, and that's accurate. About 2 to 3 weeks later, people quit calling saying, "Hey, how you doing? Like, is
Mm.
everything okay?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "They're gonna stop." She's like, "I've lost parents and people close to me." She was like, "And that's when you're gonna need somebody the most." And that was true because now it's like you can get an FMLA, but now it's time to get up and go back to go to work,
Mhm.
and you got
Mhm.
to fake it in front of people, and then
Yeah.
people are real timid with you, like they don't know what to do, what to say. So I think when I got home, it's just I'm so drained from being fake at
Mhm.
Mhm.
work, trying to make it through my 8 hours.
Mhm.
I just be present, like uh, I mean, it's rough,
If I
but
may, oh, sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Um, what do you sit with now that helps you to keep going, if you will, especially when it comes to your relationship with God? Because I remember losing a friend and it was domestic violence. And I remember I didn't understand. I sat with those same things like, God, why? Like, why did you have to do that?
Yeah.
And God literally said, you'll never understand. And some things you'll never know. And I had to sit with that.
Hmm.
And so I'm just curious for you, because you're right, you keep going. Like you don't forget, but you keep going. And then your relationship with God has to be rekindled or you're literally gonna fall apart. So what do you sit with?
Um, you mean like in a good way to keep going?
Yeah.
I mean, like now, I feel her presence more than ever. Like, just the same way you can stand up and tell somebody I walk with the Lord, I
Mm-hmm.
talk with Him. it's kind of the same thing. I do stuff that me and her would do together, and I feel her around me, and just stuff like that. Like even like just I I think like one time it was something happened in the house. I think something failed or something. I was like, oh, Pat just in there knocking stuff over. So now it's just kind of like I'm used to
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
used to it. And I think we had just picked up my son from his grandmother. And remember, I don't even remember this. He was giggling and laughing real hard. And
Mm-hmm.
we looked back, he didn't have no phone or nothing. And he was looking out the window. And we was like, what what are you laughing at? Like ain't no but trees over there.
Mhm.
He's like, my Gigi right here. And it like
Aw.
blew our mind.
Wow.
And we were like, so I mean, you
Wow.
have to do stuff that good things, do stuff that reminds you of that person.
Mm.
Like and they'll come around. Like
That's good.
Mhm.
I love that.
So, like, in a very, very practical sense for you, Keanna, were you like playing double dutch the whole time, trying to figure out, am I here? What you want me to do? What you want me to say? We still trying to figure out this marriage thing. We fighting other stuff. And I mean, it's just a lot of compound interest of all
Yeah.
the things that have happened over, those years.
before you answer that, I'm gonna jump in on that too because I remember telling her like I didn't want to be married anymore in 2019. Like
Wow.
I was
Mm.
like because, and I think I explained this with the counselor that we would talk to when we ate lunch with him. And my mindset was like, I'm. It felt almost like I'm incarcerated. Like I'm locked and I'm in jail because
Mm.
I'm struggling to live life without my mom. So I can't do nothing for you right now. So
Mm.
go ahead, like go live your life because this is just me.
Wow.
And so it wasn't that hey, I don't want to be with you because I don't love you. I love you enough that I can't be me. I can't be
Ooh.
beneficial to you anymore. So like just basically move around, go find somebody that can give you what you deserve because I can't do it right now.
Wow.
I have a
Go
life
get your
sen-
tissue.
I
Because
have
that's
a
bringing tears to my eyes.
I have a life sentence,
Wow.
Mm.
and that's just who I thought I was gonna be for the rest of my life. Like that's a woman is only like it got to a point where I would get to me and my son would call her every day in the same exact spot. Like I to this day, I purposely don't go that way. It's in Vorney. I don't go that way because I can't sit at the stop sign.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
we would literally pull out and we get to the stop sign. We would hit call and she would talk to him the whole way till I dropped him off at home. I mean, to my grandma's,
Mm.
and we don't go. I don't go that way to this day.
Wow.
Mm.
Man.
You
So,
actually said that a few times in 2019, but he actually tried to act on it in 2020 at the height of the pandemic actually. And so when the world is falling apart for everybody in 2020, my husband is saying, I don't want to be married. I don't want to
mm.
be in this marriage. And so and I think for me, practically and spiritually, because at this in this season of life, I'm walking with the Lord 10 toes down. Like
Mhm.
that's my God. And so it pushed me on my face day after day after day
Mm.
after day. I think I discovered fasting in that season. Um, I remember creating this prayer closet in our laundry room where I started to go in there and pray, and I would put prayers on the wall, and I would just find myself in there to cry, to do whatever I needed because something Anthony had not realized that I was grieving too.
Mm.
Um, and so I would do like those silent cries in the shower,
Yeah.
or I'll cry when I'm doing laundry just so he couldn't see me cry because I didn't want him to see me crying to take away from what how he was feeling.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had to hide my grief and put on a brave face so I could be there for him or the kids or like we had 3 kids in the house or actually 4 because Asher was born at this point. So he was there. We got kids in this house and life, like he said, is going on
Mhm.
and someone has to be present. Someone has to be here when they get out of school. Someone has to be here to cook them dinner and get them in bed. And so I was that parent. And so I think I didn't have time to process grief or what he was going through. I was concerned, definitely, because I saw that he was crashing. And I remember one night I used to find myself in the living room most nights because I would kind of give him the room, give him his space. And I remember one night I was in the living room and I was reading this article about a pastor in California who had killed himself. He left behind 3 small boys and his wife. And in the article, they was talking about how he was already battling mental health. Was battling. He never really grieved the loss of his father. He was dealing with depression, anxiety, and stuff. And I remember that article scared the crap out of me because I'm like, this could happen.
Yeah.
And he's a licensed gun holder. He got what he needs to get the job done. And so I would be so scared to come home or leave him at home. Or let's say I went to drop the kids off and came back and his car was still at home, I would panic. Like, why is he not gone? Why is he not at work? And I literally would unlock the door, walk in, and like looking around, and he would just be running late that day. But it's just like I had so much fear and anxiety to where it sent me to the emergency room twice for stress. And I was breaking down, like I was trying to uphold marriage and my commitment to God and still be a mom. And I think at that point, that's when I came to know God as Father. Like, this is your son, and I know that you know his heart before I do. And I remember just lifting him up in prayer day after day after day, even when he told me that he didn't want to be married. And that's how I know the Lord was moving, because the old me would have been spazzing, would have been flipping out, going crazy. And I remember just praying for him. I'm heavy on worship. I'm a worshiper at heart. He will wake up to worship. Like the atmosphere is set.
Okay. You just come on in.
You just come on in the room. Like, you awaken. He wakes up to worship. And so I would set my atmosphere. I would pray. I would be listening to sermons after sermon. I was just submerging myself in the word of God. I came to know my word the way that I know it, the way that I read it, the way that I get the revelation. Like, Holy Spirit, he dwells in me. Like, he's going to be at it's for me in my house.
Yeah.
And so while he was down and going through the motion of not having his mom, it pushed me to God. Like, it like just, I was already there. I already had a relationship, but it literally knocked me on my face, like just on the floor, crying out before the Lord. I have never known worship in that way, that intimacy with God. And I remember 2020 when he wanted to act on it, like, I don't want to be in this marriage and things like that. I'm like, the world don't even know what's coming. It's COVID. Like, what do you mean? Like, I was so confused. And it was a couple weeks before my 30th birthday. And I was angry. And I remember I was upset. And then I calmed down. I came to peace. And I remember fasting for like a week straight. I wouldn't eat from like 7 to 7, like from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, and probably longer if I just wasn't feeling it. Because again, under stress, I don't eat. So I remember fasting, and I just remember God giving me this peace about his decision. Not to say it's okay if you go, but more so like, I need you here with me. I need you one with me.
Don't focus on
Don't
that.
focus on him. And once I did that, once I shifted my posture off of this man and his choices and him telling me that he's moving and I'm gonna have to move, and me trying to figure out life without him, I focused it on back to God. And I remember having such peace about it, like not even knowing that he could leave and not come back ever, how I'm going to pay bills, and I didn't worry about it. I think I really sat in God's peace, and I remember it was so perfect that he found his way back to me and said, basically, I changed my mind in a sense, and I just remember not questioning it, like just not even, well, why did you want to leave?
It's just like, okay,
what was going on? Like, not even wanting answers.
I think one thing she always would say when I would like I would revisit it, like, why are we, like, we still doing this? Like, I want you to go, and she'll be like, you don't get to make that choice whether we divorce or not. And I'm thinking, who? I signed, you signed, so I have a choice. Like,
right, it's me and you.
Yeah, like, who else is making the choice for us? But I remember her always say that, like, we would get into, we would get into arguments, and I'd be like, just like, go. And she'd be like, you don't get to make that choice. And she wouldn't. was standing on business, like the young folks say.
That's
Mhm.
powerful.
And she
Yes,
made
because
it.
he pushed and I tripped up a couple times. Like when he pushed, I hold on now.
Yeah.
But he pushed and he pushed and he pushed. And little did he know he was pushing me to the feet of Jesus.
Wow.
And when he would say, well, just go, I can't do nothing for you, or like this, like I can't be here for you. I can't give you what you need. And I'll say, well, you don't get to make that choice.
Mm.
Did you I ain't heard from God. Like God ain't said nothing to
I know
me.
that's right.
And still to this day, like if something is happening, we'll be like, did you pray?
Yeah, and so like I got mad about something at work this past week. Me and my coworker actually laughed at her, but I'm like, I said it. I'm like, that's my girl. So I was frustrated, and I was texting her, and she texted me back. She was like, wow. She was like, did you pray? She was like, did you talk to Jesus? Like, I didn't even get to respond. Did you worship? Go listen to a song. I'm like, I'm gonna be mad. I need you to be mad with
I need
me.
you to be mad.
with me.
Sit with me in
So
this.
I like my coworker. She works in the office behind me, and I'm like, look at this. I was like, because she knew what was going on. I'm like, you see, I'm mad. This is what I get. I was like, she don't want to get mad with me. She's like, did you pray? Do I need to come up there and we just worship together? I said, you good? I got it. I receive what you're saying. I'm gonna calm down. So yeah, she still like to this day is. I mean, when I'm up and when I'm down and she's up, she pulls me up and vice versa. And I guess that's what you just need.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she could have easily got mad with me, and what is it?
Yeah.
I mean, we balance each other.
So she about this life is what you're saying.
But then it's funny because it's just what last week she had made a comment, and I said, baby, that's just not God like. And she was like, and so then Lay was like, Mama, you need to go and like pray about what you just said.
Wow.
So it was like
I'm human.
So she looked at me and she like, y'all just gonna double team me. I'm like, you would do it to us. Like you would say the same thing to us. So we balance each other.
And I sat there and I was convicted immediately.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I said, let him use you, brother.
Yeah. Lord, I'm sorry.
Oh, I felt so bad. I was just like, I had to sit in that. I'm like, oh, I should never said that. But yeah, so we have our off days, but we both know who's orchestrating this marriage.
Right.
Who's the glue, the paint, the walls, the nails, the floorboards. Like,
I know that's right.
We know.
Yeah.
We know.
I appreciate y'all, man. And y'all's story really is so powerful. And I'm not saying that just to say it, but I appreciate y'all's authenticity. Mm-hmm. And y'all are an example of what marriage is. Marriage is not always beautiful and glamorous. Like the wedding picture don't look like that every day. You know what I mean? And life still lifing. And y'all literally focused on God, and that's the message behind Left Hand Gang. Like God has to be the center, or it's not gonna work. It's not about y'all. And there are gonna be days where you sorry and you messing up, and there be days you trash and you messing up. But the fact that we love through God, that allows us to still show grace and to still show up for each other. And so thank y'all for sharing that today.
Absolutely.
We like to ask every couple. Baby, was there anything?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot. You just started.
I'm sorry.
She had said her benediction. She was
right.
closing it down.
You trying to benedict us?
I'm
like,
sorry.
dang, bro.
I'm sorry. Well, they got to the end of the road. We at 21-ish, 22.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, that
I'm
was
sorry. Go ahead, baby.
There was just a lot that had happened.
It was. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a lot that happened in time.
There's a lot that happened,
sure.
and I wanna hit I guess somewhat of a U-turn when it came to the blended family dynamic. More so for you, Anthony. What was it like trying to navigate two other men that were involved with your kids or their kids, but kids that were living with you? Like, what was that dynamic like?
It was. I mean, it was rough, real rough. Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, it got to a point. It got to a point where I did have to pull a gun on one.
Oh wow.
Oh, when you say rough, it got rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember my sister that I'm really close with him too. He pulled me to the side and he's like, "Look," he was like, "At the end of the day, he's like, you're my son too." He was like, I don't want to see you in jail behind some. He said, BS. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to think smart. And he said, and at some point, he said, I've dealt with blended families. He said, because we're a blended family. He said, at some point, until they get on the level that you're on, you have to separate yourself.
Mm.
And so that's when I start standing on, hey, they're not welcome here. Like, you do that over there. Like, I don't have no kids with them, so I don't have to deal with them. Kind of mentality. Like, you just do your drop off pickups, and we're gonna move. We'll move on, keep moving.
Mm-mm. Wow. It got like that serious, that serious.
This is with the twins' dad,
Yeah.
so it was already bad blood. So this
Mm.
Oh
is
yeah, that makes sense.
because of the
Yeah.
dynamic of like you
You
used to talk to him, and
yeah.
then you left him for me, but then you went back to him. So they were
Mhm.
already feeling some type of way. With our oldest son, dad, he was in the penitentiary for most of his younger years.
Mhm.
So we were only dealing with the twins' dad for a while
Okay.
until Carlos' dad got out. But it was very isolating. It was more so like, this is us, this is what we're doing, and then this is how you're gonna navigate those waters over there. Um, and it's still like that to this day. As far as like me being the point of contact,
Mhm.
and I mean, we now can come into rooms together, and there not be any craziness. Like, we can show up at kids' functions and
Like
be
birthdays and
cordial,
stuff.
and
Mhm.
yes, that's why I say it has gotten a lot better, and they're like 16 and 13 now, so it takes time. And so I want to definitely encourage somebody who are in a blended family with small children, because when they're small, it seems hopeless because it's fresh. Like, especially if you were in something serious with their father or things like that, you're navigating this co-parenting.
Mhm.
Um, it will get easier with time, but you have to have those boundaries, and there has to be lines of respect. And sometimes, as much as I wanted to pull him onto the journey of like
Pull.
Anthony onto the journey,
Uh-huh.
like, let's do it together because we're married, it didn't work like that. It was not. That was not our story, because when I tried to do that, when I tried to force him in the same room, it always blew up. Because, like he said, they weren't where we were, and they weren't going where we were going. And so you have to just respect that and be like, as long as it's not bringing harm to the kids, or you feel like their well-being is not good or they're not safe, then let that just be that over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while to
That's hard.
accept that.
Yeah.
Cuz first of all, I'm a very routine person. I would also say I'm like a helicopter parent a little bit, and so that would really bother me. Like, to
Yeah.
know that, like, just Kai going to his grandparents and knowing that the routine's gonna be different. In the beginning, that was so hard for me. Now it's like, whatever, we'll just fix it when he gets
Yeah.
back. So knowing that y'all are sending your kids over here, they're
Mhm.
safe, but they gonna have all kind of junk, or there's no
Yes.
structure. They go to bed when they want, or they're
Yes.
watching this, they're eating this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that probably would just drive me like this. Like,
And
Yes.
it did for a while, because I actually remember, like, we'll just say week one, they're at home, and that weekend they're at home. Then the second week they're at home, and then that weekend they go. So when they come back, we repeat. We got to
Mhm.
get them back together.
Yeah.
yeah.
Week one,
Yeah.
and by the time we got them right back together on point, they're
They
getting ready to go
leaving.
again. So
Yeah.
it's like the same cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it came to like discipline, behavior, expectations,
Yeah.
house chores and rules. Like, it's implemented over here, but not so much over
Yeah.
here. And so it was a lot of back and forth when they were younger. Now I think, because the expectation and the communication that we have with their dads and their significant others, we can talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on at school? What's the behavior like? Well, what's the expectations? Back then, it was none of that. It was, I mean, because when they're small, it's like they have expectations, but not really.
Yeah.
It's more so expectations on the parents versus
Mm-hmm.
the kids. But as the kids grow up, now our attention is redirected to the child, because they got stuff going on. We're dealing with what, eighth graders and a junior, so it's like,
Yeah.
our focus is on them. But when they're small, you can't help but to look at that other parent in the face and be like, well, what are you doing?
And then
Yeah.
that has came, and then it's come a long way, because, like, back in the day we would just handle it, But like now, I can literally be like, yeah, when you drop him off his daddy, tell his daddy what he did at school. Like,
Yeah.
get it over there too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Before it was nothing like that. We would just
Mm-mm.
deal with it at home and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And so y'all have y'all's oldest,
Mm-hmm.
the twins, and then the one that y'all have together.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that like? You know, with what's his name? Is
Asher.
Asher. So Asher get to be with y'all all day, every day for the most
Mhm.
part. And then the other three y'all kind of send off. So what is that dynamic
We
like?
well, so funny story. I have to say this quick, but my grandmother came down here when he was what, one?
He was a little
Well,
baby.
he wasn't even one yet. Yeah, before he was one. Um, and she stayed the whole week with him, had him every day. And I remember dropping back off at Love Field, and she cried and cried and cried. And I said, you'll see him again. So she lands, call me. Hey, I landed. I'm at Walmart. I'm getting boxes. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm
What?
moving back to keep him. So she kept him
What?
what, 3, 4 years, almost
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She just like that.
Yes.
Your grandma.
Yes.
Mhm.
She
And he goes with her every other
Is that
yeah,
where
week.
he
so
is
well,
today?
that's what I
Yes.
was getting at. Like, yeah.
Mm.
So when he started going to school, she's like, "Hey, well, y'all put me on the same schedule that the big kids are on. So
Mhm.
every time y'all drop them off, drop him off because now he's in school. I'm
Oh,
not going all this time when I see him. So she gets him every other weekend,
Mm.
like clockwork.
wow. Is he
Like,
spoiled?
yes,
Rotten.
yes.
I
She
can
has
only
a whole
imagine.
2 bedroom
Wow.
apartment, and his whole
No.
room is set up like it's
Stop
like
it.
at home.
He
Like
has
he
his
lives
own
there.
pantry
Yes.
What?
Man.
with snacks and groceries.
Lives it up.
She calls
Calls
him
on
on
Thursday
Thursdays.
night and asks him, "Baby, what do you want for dinner Friday, breakfast Saturday,
Asher.
dinner on Saturday, and then I will cook you what you
He
want to take
got
home."
it made.
So when he go to school, he don't even want. I don't want that food.
I bet.
My grandma cook way better than that. Like, I don't want this.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we're kid free every other
Every week,
weekend.
yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and
That's
we were
really
just
nice.
talking to one of his cousin about this because we were going down this road of like married couples who end up divorcing after the kids graduate and go off to college, and we was
Mhm.
like, well, how do you do that? Because we're in marriage now, and we look forward to when the kids go away now to
Mhm.
where we can be together, like have our
Mm.
alone time. And I said those weekends are pivotal for us because like
Yeah.
that's when we get to just be husband and wife, not
Yeah.
mom and dad.
Mhm.
That's
I'd be
so
like
nice.
walking around like, Lord forbid they skip a weekend. I'd be like, oh Jesus, when y'all leaving so I can be with my wife by myself.
I get that, man. I
Yeah,
understand
it's
that.
crucial.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't see how people stick it in for the kids. It's like, is that all that's keeping you there? Is the kids? Because
Yeah.
it's like I can see how people get lost in the sauce with just focusing on the kids because the kids
Yeah.
do keep us busy.
They take a lot.
Mhm.
but they take so much from the marriage. And it's like
Mhm.
if you keep that up, yeah, day of graduation, y'all gonna be separated.
Yeah.
Because it's like now what? But it's like
Mhm.
no, we look forward to that every other weekend, and we got it down to the date. Like we could
Yeah.
plan a trip.
Yeah, we
this
actually
year.
have. We're playing.
Man.
It's in my calendar for in lifetime.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
other weekend, boom, like plan it
Mhm.
around this. We'll be kid free that weekend. We can go wherever you want to go and be back Sunday, Monday, and continue
Mhm.
on like normal.
So y'all are intentional about doing something every other weekend for y'all.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that.
That's
Okay,
Date
give us a
night.
couple ideas, like married couples that need some ideas for quick dates, long dates, whatever, quality
Yeah.
time.
Like so, just like tonight, we're just doing what Papa does with some more couples that are friends of ours.
Mhm.
Um,
And we try not to do okay. So we try to do something with other people at least once a month.
Okay.
But we
Mhm.
we like to do things by ourselves. So like most of the times we love to travel. So we could take a quick flight somewhere Friday to Sunday. Like we went to Vegas last month
Okay.
for the weekend,
Yeah.
Friday to Sunday. It was quick. We landed in Vegas at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
mhm,
We were there all Friday, all Saturday, and we left at Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning.
mhm,
Because mind you, we're on this schedule, and the kids were out of school that Friday,
Mhm.
so it worked out.
Mhm.
But we are on this schedule to where we know like okay, if we go somewhere, we have to be back,
Yeah.
so we can pick up the kids and do all the things. But usually we like to eat, so we're normally always in Dallas checking out restaurants. Um, for the most part, though, we love just good quality time,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
You
at
can't beat
home.
that. Yeah.
No
Mhm.
kids.
No
running,
kids
a
at the house.
clean
Oh,
house.
yes.
No kids.
Yes.
I mean, just a
Peace
good
and quiet.
movie, some good food.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and we love going to church, just us two.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's our like we
Sundays
love
are
that.
probably very different. You don't have to get everybody
Oh
up
yes,
and
Yep.
dress.
we just
And
I
you can
mean
go
we
visit other churches. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But so like if people invite us places, like hold on, we gotta check see if there's a kid free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the kids gonna be home. Sorry, like
Yep.
we don't even attempt to do anything
Okay.
on kid weekends. Oh
Okay.
no,
Because you already know.
it's not gonna work. Like, cause
Yeah.
and usually he's working too. So, um, so
Yeah, that's Saturday.
yeah. So before he used to be off on Saturdays where the kids were home, and I thought I appreciated that more because I'm like, you're never home when the kids are here on Saturdays. It's just I want us to do family stuff. So then his schedule flipped at work to where he was working the weekends the kids were home. And so now
You mean the kids are gone?
when the kids are gone,
Uh-huh.
he's
Yeah.
off. So like
Oh.
today's he's
Uh-huh.
off. And I was like, you know what? I think I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I
You
would like
know,
that better too.
I think
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I can because although you're working that Saturday when the kids are home, we have Sunday together. So we'll
Yeah,
normally
and
do
then-
like lunch or do something fun with the kids. But like I appreciate this time.
I love that. Was it ever hard? Were y'all ever like, dang, like I miss the kids? Or-
Mm-mm.
No, both of y'all face.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
You
I
need
think
that break.
because we've been in this cycle for so long.
Oh, okay.
So like
That makes sense.
like with the twins, he's been on this visitation since they were like 1 year old.
Okay.
And then with Carlos, he's a teenager. He actually lives with his dad in
Okay.
Carrollton. So he's been there 2 years now. And so he calls us to come home, like to come visit back to Forney. But no, we don't. It's more so like when they try to stay home, they don't want to go to
And we
dad's.
like, no,
like,
you need this.
we
Yeah,
actually
it's
have
good for
plans.
you. So you gotta go.
Yeah,
booked.
we're going. We got dinner date. So
We're already booked.
And then now they're getting old enough to where one will want to go, and one will be like, "Can I stay?" No, you need to go. Just
you gotta go see your dad.
y'all need to
you
be
gotta
together.
spend time.
Yeah,
with
So
them.
y'all gotta coach him up.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
They
even
miss
Asher
you.
sometimes he try to stay home and like we kept him like we will keep him like a Friday night if we don't have plans. But that Saturday, okay, you gotta
You
go
got
to
to
grandma's
go.
house now. You at least need one night. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
I really love that because it's like, like you were saying, you're really keeping your marriage at the forefront of things.
making it a
And
priority.
so, although the kids are a part of it,
Mhm.
but if y'all two ain't healthy, y'all two ain't getting y'all's time, y'all not communicating, y'all ain't able to just get away, it really does pull from your marriage.
Yeah.
And you just lacking. And you end up just being existing in your marriage and being more invested toward parenting. So I like the balance that y'all have.
And we do like we try to make it fun. Like I remember one weekend, I had booked a room. I think with the Beeman or whatever.
Mhm.
With the what?
At the Beeman Hotel on
Beeman.
75,
Mhm.
just so we different atmosphere. And so I told her, I said, we're gonna do something fun. I said, here, you go on the website, you order all new outfits for us, and I'm gonna plan what we're gonna do that whole weekend.
Oh,
So
I
we're already
love
staying
that.
at the hotel, and I got everything planned out. You order all the stuff, and boom, that Friday came, we're gone. We
That
left,
sounds so fun.
and it was just. And I guess you get the date all over again. Just have fun.
Oh yeah, we're down for a good staycation. Like
Yeah.
Dallas has so much to offer. Like as far as like experiences, hotels.
Mhm.
Like we got our eyes on a few downtown, like the Statler. He been wanting to stay at the Omni for a while. So like even if it's just for one night, like for my birthday, we stayed at Lorenzo. I mean, it's just the experience.
Yeah.
People will pay for the experience.
That's true.
And so we just have those memories. Like, oh, remember we went here? Remember we did that? Like, we went to Vegas last month. We drove up to the Grand Canyon. It's a 2-hour drive, but it's like I enjoyed that car drive. Like,
Yeah.
he was dreading it, but
Grand Canyon is dope though.
man,
Mhm,
it
it
was
was.
beautiful. And it's like little things like that, and we captured all of that in a weekend. So it's
Mhm.
possible.
That's
Good
encouraging.
planning. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a planner at heart, and
Her planning, my budgeting, it works.
it works.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds like a great mesh.
It
Yeah.
works
Because-
until he's like, "You're blowing up the budget."
Well, people at work be like, "How do you afford to go to Vegas all the time?" I'm like, I said, man, I said, and I see you smoke cigarettes, you drink beer, so that's how much does that cost you?
Mm.
Oh, I spend about $100 some a week. I said, my round trip tickets to Vegas was only like $200 some
Right.
for both of us. We got them early enough, so that if you skip out on that a week, you can invest in your relationship
Yep.
kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just the thing.
That was
and
a soft shot. I've
Yeah.
never heard of a soft shot
Right.
being fired.
And that's just, I mean, we plan it out to where, like, she may just be looking and be like, oh, Vegas got tickets, or so and so got tickets for $68 round trip. Like 6 months. Is it okay for a weekend? Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just work around it. I mean,
We got to get one of these grandparents on a rotation.
That's the key
That's
because
I'm really liking this idea. It don't even have to be every other week.
Mm-hmm.
there's 1 week in a month.
Yeah. We gonna have to talk about
Look, hey, just
Just
tell
put
them,
that
hey, look,
into
we do communion the
rotation.
first week. The third week, y'all got them.
What'd you say?
First weekend, we do communion. It's Sunday. That third weekend, I need y'all to have it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that's key. Having a community, having there are times where it kind of get a little tricky where we have to, call on some lifelines and be like, okay, wait, our flight, it got switched. We're not coming back to Monday. So then we're shuffling.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're pretty good at planning. But another thing though is that certain times of the year it's automatic for us. So like February, Valentine's Day weekend, we're always on a trip. Usually for our anniversary, July, we're on a trip. We typically will go somewhere either October or November, either for his birthday or just because. And every year it's the same thing. So it's like we're already thinking about what we're gonna do in February.
Yeah, I got y'all blackout dates.
I
Yeah.
like
That's it.
that.
And I get made fun at work all the time because at Thanksgiving week, I'll turn in all my vacation for the following year. And I make fun of my boss. I'm like, be thankful I'm giving this to you. He's like, why? I said, that's me telling you I'm gonna work here another year. I was
Right.
like, because I take Thanksgiving week off every year. We're gonna do that weekend, the 4-day weekend or whatever in February, and then our anniversary. And the February is our couples. We
typically during that time of the year we typically will invite other couples to come with us. Like that's just not a us trip. It's more so like the more the merrier. And we did a couples trip 5 years in a row.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Where I planned it and it was fun. Like last year was a little tricky though.
The couples trip thing, I know us.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's very hard. It's
and
very
everybody
hard.
talking about they gonna go, and then
when it's time for the deposit,
the month before, people be like, "Where we going again?"
So we typically like to do a meeting like in August or October, and like say for example, we started the first one, then the next year we say we still oversee it, but the next couple you pick where we go. Hey, make sure you have everything ready because August we're gonna sit down at Papa Do's, and we're going to talk about it with all the couples and go over the. But I saying we know we have people that make $250,000, we have people make 50,000 a year. So make sure it's
something
everybody can
doable.
flow. Like we ain't going to Dubai, on the couples trip
Yeah.
because everybody can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, and it's been working. That meeting, I don't know what about that meeting in August, October. It works because then everybody's ready to go, and we've got up to what do you think? 11, 12 couples?
Oh wow!
I think that was our biggest year. That's when we went to Gallenberg.
Yeah. We had 2 cabins in Gallenberg.
Where's Gallenberg?
Tennessee.
Okay.
Oh, it's so nice.
Up in the mountains.
That sounds
so nice. So we went Vegas, Denver, Cozumel on a cruise, Gallenberg, and then Orlando was our last one. We went to Universal.
I love that. That's a really good idea, y'all.
I mean, so it's like it's stuff that's affordable. And we have had those challenges where couples drop out, they don't pay, they don't go. And at the end of the day, it's like, because we learned our lesson the hard way, because we would try to do it together.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Now this is where we're going.
Yeah.
This is where we're staying. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pick and choose how you want to move.
Yeah, I got you.
Because you have everything's different. Like, hey, we might have a discount through work. You may want to afterpay. You may want to Klarna. You may want to pay it cash.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to do it with a travel agent where hey, everybody got to pay it.
I got you.
This is where we're going. This is where we're staying.
If you coming,
we're gonna be here. This
what we
doing.
doing.
Dates we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
We even flexible on the date part. Like we go may say Thursday to Monday, but you may have some couples that come Friday or Tuesday. We just say, hey, look, even though we all in the same city. Every day we ain't got to be together. This Valentine's Day, so we're gonna do one event together and one dinner, and maybe one breakfast. That's it. We can really do it all in the same day, and the rest of the days we'll see you guys. And we create a big group text, and we say, hey, we're going to shooting tonight. Anybody want to go? And then the couples that want to go, they go. And the ones that don't, they veer off and say, "Oh, I want to go see what this is over here."
I like that. And it helps it to not be complicated too.
Yeah.
Because when you move in with a lot of people, it could be, even just getting a table to sit down and eat
Yeah.
can be annoying.
Yes.
Or you got to wait on people to be there on time. And it's
Mhm.
I like that idea. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to do these things together. We'll be in the same city. And then having that group chat, like, hey, we're doing this if anybody wants to come.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been working. So
And you get time with your spouse too. It's like I don't have to be with another couple all the time.
Exactly.
Like,
All
I mean,
the
it's
time.
fun, like, but
Yeah, I'm
Anthony
sure.
will tell you he is not like he ain't gonna take too many of these date nights with other couples. He's like, look now, I just want me and you time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're just intentional about that, and it keeps us going. I think it's the bread and butter, like dating, eating meals together, watching games. I'm a big sports person. Like,
I can
don't
tell
mind
you use
watching
a lot of sports analogies.
Yes, I don't mind football. I don't mind basketball. I would ask him a lot of questions, as far as like what I'm looking at, but like I don't mind it at all. I think that's what he like. That's what I like. But it takes a lot of growing pains, and then you look up and it no longer hurt. It's just like, oh, it comes with ease and with comfort, and you realize I like doing this. So
I love that. This journey y'all have been on.
Yeah,
Man.
y'all's journey is crazy,
yeah.
and it's very evident that God's hand is on y'all.
Yes.
Definitely, for everything that y'all have walked through together, separately, kind of together, married. Like, man, it is. It's not very often, that we come across people and we know their story, and man, it's a blessing to be able to know y'all story. Because I believe that a lot of people, after hearing y'all story, will be like, "Dang, they go through that too.
I can make it.
I can make
I can
it.
do this.
I can do this married thing, even though I don't know what it is and nobody taught me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all just trying to figure it out, whatever it is, and try to be the best representations of God that we can be.
Absolutely.
So, man, I thoroughly enjoyed y'all. I had I'm gonna tell y'all this how funny God is. So I'm over here, I'm thinking, man, I can ask about that. I should ask about that. And God was like, just let them talk. Let them tell their story. We don't need questions today.
Yeah.
We don't need a lot of questions.
That's how I felt. Like, just let them tell their story.
Just let them tell their story.
And I was so into it that I forgot. I had a question every now and then, but I was really just like, okay, keep going.
I was like, ooh, we can
That's so
dig into
funny.
this and go into that. And God said, just let them tell their story.
What's funny, even more funny about that, she sent me the questions. I didn't even look at them. I kind of wanted to be just an ass boom. I don't want to study the question and be like, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
This.
That's how I like it to be, but I know, like, for some people it could be, so it depends.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know y'all, so like I didn't want to ask you something and then you were like, man, I don't know. You know how, like, and then you really caught off guard and it takes forever and it's authentic, but it just took you a while to get there. So
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it was organic, and I appreciated it too. Something though that I wanted to bring up, because I wanted to highlight you in this moment. But we just went through this growth track at our church. Growth track.
Okay.
It's like a part of their church where you take this personality test to kind of see where you can best serve. And so we sat down and we took the test together. I'm barking out the questions, and he's filling out his questionnaire. I'm filling out mine. And we got to the end of it. One of the questions was basically who has been like the best disciple, or who do you consider a disciple in your life, or something of the sorts. And he said I was. And I looked at him and I was like, really? I was just like, oh wow, I didn't know. Like, not that I didn't know, but like I didn't, I don't know how he sees me.
Yeah.
I just feel like I hope that it's good. I pray that what he's looking at every day, that he's happy and that he's blessed, and that, because I'm like, man, I have really committed this work unto the Lord, so I can't really say that I'm checking for you, like, not in that way. I'm not looking for your approval.
Yeah.
I'm looking at God, and like, that's a word of advice that I would give. Like, God will check you if your husband or wife is on the altar of your heart, because then there's no room for him.
Oh yeah.
So when I removed him, and this was right around the time where he was saying he didn't want to be married, I said, oh no, because then it would have wrecked my life again.
And that's the thing. As spouses, you have to remember to keep doing your walk with God regardless of what your spouse is doing.
That part.
And I say that because I can have a horrible dream about my mom and wake up and I'm depressed on the side of the bed. And right when I'm like, I'm just about to be one of them days. And she opened the door and she's playing gospel music. The presence of the Lord is here, and I'm like, I'm not on that right now, but it's like, but it's like something I needed that I didn't before. She don't even know. She in a whole nother room, blasting gospel music, and I'm like, I just got up and she's waking me up with this, and it's like, but by the time I get up moving around, I'm like, that's what I needed.
That's what you needed.
If I'd have got up in peace and quiet, my day could have went a whole nother way.
Yeah.
So she doing her, which is helping me behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. We get to heaven, you my brother.
But for now,
no more husband and wife.
That's true, brother. You practicing?
Yeah, I want to see you how the Lord sees.
Brethren.
That is funny.
Yo, y'all funny. Man, yeah, you dropped some gems there. You dropped some gems, man. It was great having y'all. Man, feel like we got some more married friends.
We did.
And we can hang out with.
And they family.
And
y'all, we found out we're cousins, like for real. Our grandmas. Is it your great grandma?
It's my grandma. My granny.
So both of our grannies are sisters. They have the same dad. And we just found that out.
Wow.
And my dad's a detective, so he'll get to this Price thing. He gonna figure
it out. Okay.
He called me on like 3-way, 4-way probably. They had me, my homeboy, him, and his aunt. And he's like, "Now who you say?" And I'm like, "Why? We on the phone? Like you?"
Talking about for Keanna?
No, for me.
Oh,
he was trying to
for
figure.
The best friend.
Yeah, he was trying to figure out how my best friend was. And I'm like, "Why? He trying to? You remember something like that? That was 15 years ago."
Dog, I don't know. I don't
know. When you get the older women on the phone, they be like,
yeah,
yep, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but she like, well, tell them they is cousins, and I'm like,
okay,
all right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an honor. Thank y'all for inviting us.
Yeah,
we're literally sitting in an answer prayer on the drive over. I was telling him like, I pray for this.
You did.
Oh my God, on no drive, she would not stop talking on the drive over.
I just was praising the Lord, and I was just like,
pray
God,
for what?
Wait, yeah, that's what I'm wanting to know.
Good point. I pray that. So you asked me about my podcast earlier, and I said it's on ice.
Yeah.
And you said why, and I was like, because God said so. And he was like, well, I ain't gonna ask you no more. And earlier this year, I came into this year in routine of like planning for the show, and I just remember hearing God says marriage, like focus on marriage. Let that be priority ministry wise. And so I knew what that meant, because the year prior I struggled with balancing women's ministry with the podcast and marriage, like trying to find that healthy in between. And so I started praying that, well, God, you will unite us in marriage, in ministry. I didn't know how he was going to do it. I'm thinking, are we supposed to start a podcast? Are we supposed to do something in ministry together? And so this was earlier this year. So I started praying that, God, you would show me exactly why that is on ice. And when I got your text about us coming on to Left Hand Gang, I knew this is the moment. This is it, God. Like I knew before I even had his yes, and he said that I still didn't give it to him. But before I even spoke to him about it, I knew that God was finna show me why I needed you to refocus, why I needed you to put that away, because you would have been too busy, or you would have been out of sorts, or you would have been way, off the grid with where I needed you to be, to where when you sat down in this moment, it wouldn't, the story wouldn't glorify me in the way that I needed.
Wow.
And God has a way about sitting us down so that he makes sure he get the glory.
Yeah.
This was that moment for us.
Wow.
So,
Right.
answer prayer. That
Amen.
Right there.
we would unite in this way, and that we would share our story.
Hopefully this helps for the book.
Definitely. Yeah. So I just want to commend y'all for stepping into this side of glory regarding this podcast and ministry, because it's meaningful, it's impactful, and it's hard. And I think there aren't enough resources out there for real conversations, candid conversations. And I think it starts in atmospheres like this, where you just generally conversating about life and marriage and the roads that one have took to get there. So I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And y'all only been married 4 years?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. God is at work.
Amen.
Busy.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. I'm sure he's pulled y'all together in the midst
Huh.
of this show.
Nah,
Oh,
I
boy.
don't like her.
Oh, boy.
Nah, we have been.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in so many different ways. He has. But, man, thank you for speaking that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Shawty,
What's up, baby daddy?
you alright, baby mom? You know you fine, right?
I sure appreciate it.
I know. That's why I married you. Because you fine.
Thank you.
Ah,
Come on, get us out of here.
I'm blushing. I'm dark skinned, so you can't see
Oh,
it.
okay. I
I'm
can't.
blushing.
Okay.
So you have to
Little
give you
bit.
that sound effect.
Yeah,
So you,
Ah. I got it.
Woo, man, y'all. We hope that y'all enjoyed kicking it with the prices. Man, I really I ain't got nothing for y'all.
I
I ain't got nothing for you.
Keanna and Anthony. I mean,
And I feel like we could have went for a whole nother 2 hours, honestly.
we gonna talk some more when we break.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this not for the camera. But we thank y'all so much. Don't forget again to check out our sponsors, Icy Brand, Light with Purpose. The promo codes for the discounts are down there in the description. And until next episode, we got one more episode left until the season is up. So until next episode, we love y'all. Y'all be easy. Peace. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang podcast.
Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and rate us.
And lastly, please don't forget to check out our website. That's lefthandgang.co for merch and ways to stay connected.
Catch you next episode.
Gang.